Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's Ruth Marquise. If I were to- Welcome to the Ruth and Relationship Show. I am your host, Ruth Marquise, aka your favorite realtor, aka your favorite credit specialist, aka your love negotiator. I help men and women relate, get into quality relationships that lead to quality families, that lead to quality communities, that leave quality legacies. Let's build. Today's topic, um treating treating black girls like adults too early. Treating black girls like adults too early. Okay, I got a lot for y'all today. So I am prepared. Disclaimer, I am not a therapist. I am not licensed or anything like that. I feel like everybody should go on their own relationship journey because honestly, the people that have been married for 30 years and plus, I mean, they are relationship experts. And I feel like if you don't know anything about relationship, you need to get to know. So I'm on my journey and I encourage you to get on your journey to learn more and then you'll start winning more. Okay. So the same thing is like we're trying to figure out what's going on and why we can't come together. So, one of the problems that I'm seeing online and I'm seeing in person and I'm seeing in interactions is the lack of emotional maturity. Okay. And a lot, you think people are grown. Like, y'all know what a man child is, right? Well, there's women child, women childs, I said, right? But basically, it's a grown person's body with a child's mindset, and it's like it goes back to, I believe. I'm not even gonna let you take my word for it. What is it? The Reading Rainbow? But you don't have to take my word for it. Did watch this. Watch this. We're gonna jump into it right away. Okay. I'm not playing with y'all today. I got my tissue because I may cry because it's so sad. But I want y'all to jump into this, okay? All right. So, first thing I want to talk about is let's see. What causes adults to be immature, okay? So, check this out. I should see my screen. Perfect. Okay. All right, screen working with me. All right. Cool, cool, cool. Here we go. I'm gonna let y'all see over here. Okay, check this out. Emotional immaturity can be the result of insecure attachments. I'm gonna tell you what that means in a little bit. During early life experiences, trauma, untreated addiction, or mental health problems, and or a lack of deeper introspection or work on oneself. It can manifest as self-centeredness, narcissism, and poor management of conflict. I'm going to say that last part again. It can manifest as self centeredness, narcissism, and poor management of conflict. Okay. One of the reasons why I don't subscribe to happy wife, happy life is this. One of the reasons why I don't subscribe to happy wife, happy life. Of course, I want to be happy, but I'm going to make myself happy first. Happy wife, happy life. But as a woman, emotions go up and down, depending on the mood, depending on the stressors, depending on what we got going on. Like sometimes it's almost impossible to be a woman. You got work, you got kids, you got obligations, you have clients, you have customers, you have a boss, you have this and that and the third going on at the same time. Very stressful. But see, we deal with our stress differently. So we can feel like the world is like we're losing control and we're so trying to work out our emotions, we can't even work out a solution yet. The men, they'll take it. All right, what's the solution for this? What's the solution for that? And I was reading somewhere that's like women, we sit around and we complain about it and we don't want to do nothing about it. But we are so busy trying to work out those emotions. Like, I don't want to be upset about it. I've said this on the show. It's the issue, but it's two parts to the issue. It's the issue itself that is the problem, right? That's when the men are giving us the solution, they're only fixing one part. What about the part where I got an attitude about it now? And how am I supposed to calm myself? You see what I'm saying? Like, so it's a whole how I feel about it and what happened. The solution may speak to what happened, but we're not addressing how I feel about it. Okay. So once you learn how to do that for yourself, you'll be great, right? Okay. So now A successful relationship requires, these are common sense statements. It requires two mature people. That's why you can't find, like, you when you're not in we're having two different experiences. There's the mature people that are getting, hey, like, wow, you're mature. Like, I like talking to you. I like dating you. Now, if they're in shape, they got a lot of options. If they're not in shape, hey, I like you. If you were only, then you get the, oh, if you were only X pounds lighter, then you'd be perfect. I mean, women hear that a lot. Women hear that sometimes. So it just means you have the maturity. I like you. You would be a great wife, but we got to physically be attracted. I should have showed you the video of when the guy said, literally the girl got on here and said, she got on the internet and said, I this man, I'm over 30. This man respects my mind. He loves my personality, but he told me because I'm 20 pounds overweight that he doesn't see much more than that from us. We only can be friends. I'm talking about realities. See, sometimes when you actually grow up, you got to talk about what's really, what's really the issue? What's the problem? If you're not finding people that want to say, "Hey, I want to be with you." Like, you are better than them all. I mean, because let's not kid ourselves, okay, guys. The ones that have options, they're trying to pick their best option. Women, this is how we were like, oh, I'm gonna make you the best man. I'm gonna work with you. I'm gonna fix you up. Men, not. They like, you need to come ready. They're more picky than us, for sure. Tell me if I'm lying. If you're on here, say hi. If you're watching this on replay, hashtag replay. Hey, replay gang. I see y'all watching. I thank you so much. Like the video and comment, and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. So now, if you don't have your emotional maturity together, see, beautiful women, like, one thing I had to come to a conclusion is that there's a lot of beautiful women out there. I am not the only. I think I'm beautiful, and I think a lot of women are more beautiful than me, and there is plenty of them. I used to feel like sometimes, oh, she beautiful, huh? Oh, you like them, huh? I'm like, listen, they got eyes. They know. But one thing for certain, and I got confirmation on it. Guys don't like her being beautiful takes nothing away from you being beautiful, right? But for women, it only can be 110. That's a different conversation, and we're gonna make that a topic for another day. It can only be 110 in a room, and I said it on the show, so I was totally justified. I was like, yes, I know I wasn't the only one that said that. That's where all the jealousy and stuff comes from. But all this cattiness, all this craziness, it's a lack of emotional maturity. When you're emotionally mature, when you're secure and you have a secure attachment style. I'm not a therapist, but it means like you're okay with yourself. And if you find yourself so needy or temporarily feeling a certain type of way, and somebody has to give you validation or somebody has to be there for you, then you got to go back and say, hold up, hold up, hold up. What am I not doing for me? I need to do something for myself. I need to give myself the love that I want. I was looking at the self-care list, and there's like, buy flowers for yourself. I said, yes, duh, that sounds good, right? Once you start giving yourself that love, whatever somebody's offering you, like if they have not the best intentions, you're like, yeah, I do that for myself, right? If they have good intentions, like, okay, I see you. That's how that goes. But you got to have that emotional maturity to know, you know what? I'm not a needy person. And I know how to sit back and evaluate who is a good person. But when you're emotionally immature, you're going to pick bad people for yourself because you're going to go for the candy and you're not going to go for the vegetables. I'm going to say it again. When you're emotionally immature, you're going to go for the candy, whether that's the looks, the money, the car. Depends on if you're a man or a woman, what you feel like you want, but not what you need. And marriages are going to work and relationships are going to work when you get what you need, not what you want. Because they'll give you what you want. Remember when Tyler Perry broke down the 80-20% rule, the 80-20 rule? And it's like you leave the 80 for the 20. The 20 is like the 20% guy is like the guy who has a little bit of what you want, but it's so flashy, so everything. And then when you get him, you're like, you're not doing what the other one is done. The 80% guy solid. He has some flaws, but he was solid. You left the solid one for instability. All right. So when you're mature, you look past that material. You look past material things. You look past things that don't matter, and you look at, okay, how is the person treating me? How, like, what do I need and what do I that person need? And let's do it like this, right? Versus I need this, I'm demanding this, I'm demanding that. If I'm speaking good, you need to say something, right? You need to tell me, all right, I agree with you. I understand, Ruth. When you have a list of demands like you a terrorist, like I want this from a man and I want that from a man. He better, and if he don't, if you're not gonna get it, sis. I'm trying to tell you, as a realtor, if I come with a list so long, okay, and I make that list, look at the props. The props are coming back, y'all. And fix the roof, and fix the electrical, and fix the paint, and fix the kitchen. We're not getting anything. We're not buying a house, right? We're not buying a house. What did I tell you earlier this week? I said that we got our whole list approved because we worked on what we needed. And then I added a couple little things. I'm like, oh, that's all you need. Fine, throw some more in. You want to be reasonable. That's how the men will treat us. You want to be reasonable? Bet. One guy said, he said, a woman who needs nothing gets everything. I love that line. That was great. I mean, it was coming from the best person, but it was a good line. All right, so now let's talk about this, okay? So we have the proof right here: emotional immaturity, early life experiences, and trauma. We're always saying that women got trauma and this you can't help them, and all this untreated addiction and untreated mental health problems, and a lack of deeper introspection or work on oneself. That's why when you want to be in a relationship, you need to work on yourself. Not for the sake of the other person. You just want to bring your best, right? If you bring your best, let's put it in real estate terms. If my buyer has money in the bank, the best of credit, that is going to, and the person that fixed the person that's selling the house, the listing agent made sure that that house was properly staged. It looks his best. Everybody's bringing their best to the table. That's going to make a great transaction. The problem is when you see the buyer don't have a lot of money, right? But they want the top-notch property, right? They got just barely enough, just enough. And then they're asking for all of these things. I want this top-notch. I want granite countertops. I want French doors. I want a deck in the, I want all these things. Everybody's going to want all those things. So therefore, who's the strongest buyer? So now the seller saying, I want the buyer that has money in the bank. I know they're going to close. They have a reputable mortgage company. We're going to close in a good short amount of time. They have all the best. They're not going to ask me for this long list. You got to love the props here. Long list of repairs. I'm not going to overspend. They're not going to put me through hell. We're not going to have delayed settlements. Sometimes that's how it is being in a relationship with you. Ask yourself, am I the one that put the seller through too much? I can't say the sellers put buyers through too much because honestly, the way the contract's set up, it's set up to make the once you pick a buyer, right? You hold the buyer basically holds the seller hostage until the date of the contract is over. That's just the way it's set up. Because the government wants if you want to buy a house, they want to protect the buyer, right? And then not so much the seller. The seller's on the hook. And it's just like when a man has to pick a woman. If you don't pick the best woman you can find that is going to show earlier somebody said there's a couple and one was a Zumba instructor. You know me. I was like, well, dang, it's gonna guarantee she's gonna stay fine for a long time. She's a Zumba instructor. I don't know about that. Just like I heard the guy say, oh, they like the girls that have like a thin, long neck or something like this. They just like a skinny frame because they know the girl gonna be skinny forever. I was like, y'all so shallow. I was laughing, but they're being honest. Like, so I was just like, yeah. So basically, the guy's picking this girl, trying to make sure that transaction is going to be smooth. That transaction, that escrow period is the marriage. They don't want somebody that at their last day, right before settlement, they blow up the settlement. Like if you watch the last episode of Ruth and Real Estate, Ruth and Real Estate, market update, go check it out, right? And we talked about the buyer that blew up settlement the day before settlement. Like, they don't want that. Guys don't want a woman. They're going to finally pick a woman. They're going to get their lives together. They're going to work hard. They're going to take care of this woman. They're going to do everything they can do. They're going to take her out on dates. All of these things they're going to do for this woman. And then the woman gets up and leave with the kids. They don't want that. They're trying to make sure they pick the right one because it's really going to be on them. It's really going to be egg on their face. And so as you can see, it's best that you pick a woman that is emotionally mature. So let me get to the topic, okay? Let me get to the topic, child, because this is all right. So let me talk about um insecure attachments, right? Because these are important terms to know. If you don't know these terms, you got to get to know these terms. You got to look them up and see for yourself. Because when you like, oh my gosh, he didn't call me. Oh my gosh, why are you not there? Oh my gosh, why are you leaving me? I don't want you to go have fun with your friends. Insecure attachment, okay? Insecure attachment. Okay. So people with an insecure attachment style generally have trouble making emotional connection with others. They can be aggressive or unpredictable toward their loved ones, a behavior that is rooted in the lack of consistent love and affection they experienced in their childhood. Okay? That means when you were a child, somebody did you wrong. Somebody did you wrong when you were a child. Somebody didn't hug you enough. They didn't say, I love you. They didn't let you make mistakes. You went to school. They punished you. They said you was a bad boy or a bad girl. When you cried, it didn't mean nothing. They didn't have no empathy. They mistreated you. And now, when you grow up, you have insecure attachment style. So let's see what happens when our babies go to school with people that are not culturally sensitive, especially the girls. Sorry, guys, I don't got to. But check this out. This is how it affects you as a guy. Because if she's telling you stories about how they done did her wrong and how they treated her and how she come up, or if you understand this about a woman, then you can have a little bit more empathy for her. Because right now, everybody's like, well, you grown, you should have figured all that out before you met me, right? But if we can understand, this doesn't take it's not just the girls that were born yesterday. If you're going through the same thing that you're going through since 400 years ago, it's a problem in the community. Okay. And if it's a problem in the community, Ruth is on it. Get your team on it, Ruth. All right. So let's see. We have attachment style. So we're talking about attachment. Attachment is the emotional bond with another person. Okay. So children and caregivers have attached. Now, let me tell you this. I used to be in daycare, so I know all about uh, caregiving, and how you treat a child is super important to their development. I have a little secret. Okay. If you have a kid and let's say the kid is like being quiet and like resist, like that, there is two forms of rebellion, right? It's the quiet ones, and then if you're like, if you get like, you'll see the teacher get loud and rowdy, and it gets them to move. But for the loud and rowdy kids, you yelling at them and doing all that rah rah, it doesn't matter one bit, baby. So what I realized, right, and they're giving you a problem, and you got to handle it and get back to your work. You got to be softer and calmer and more understanding with children. I'm gonna say a phrase, and I'm gonna get back to it. Magical phrase. If you have children or nieces, nephews, I don't argue with kids. Mm, that's a bar. Wait, I'm gonna have to get a soap bar and be like, bars. I don't argue with kids. Oh, it saved my whole daycare life. I had little boys. I didn't know little boys could argue so much. Little boys, little girls, once they start, oh, you think I'm about to go back and forth with you? Oh, I can't argue with you. You mad. If y'all know that real. I can't argue with you because I don't argue with little children. You have to be on my level for me to argue with you. But let me tell you what these educators are doing. Educators. Remember that? I'm going to give my education. Let me tell you what these educators are doing, okay? Let me tell you what these educators are doing, okay? Because I was just pulling this part up to show you that, hey, um, if you are a teacher, okay, if you're a teacher, it matters, okay? It says quality caregiving. All right, let me show you what it says. You gotta believe me when I say it. Quality caregiving, when caregivers respond quickly and consistently. I want y'all to keep note of this. When caregivers respond quickly and consistently, children learn they can depend on the people who are responsible for their care. If you have children, if you are planning on having children, this is a very important show for you. Which is the essential foundation for attachment? This is a vital factor. If you have heard of attachment styles, let me know, right? All right, guys. If you have a secure attachment, I can't go through all of them. You're going to have to read it yourself, but there's 4. But secure attachment, children who can depend on their caregivers to show distress. Please keep these things in mind while I'm about to go through this information. When separated, enjoy when reunited. Although children may be upset, they feel assured that the caregiver will return when fighting. Securely attached children are comfortable seeking reassurance from caregivers. This is the most common attachment style. Have you ever been at your child's school or daycare and when they're younger and there's some teachers, my son don't want me to drop him off a certain teacher. I already know what time it is. I'm like, oh shoot, she mean. And some people, and he goes and he says, if he waves to you, I already know you treat him well. I know how you treat my kids by how he responds to you. And when he sees me, he's like, mommy, running and everything, right? My son's funny though. My son is very he doesn't speak at daycare, right? And so when his sisters come around, he don't know me. But as soon as they leave, he's my best friend. I was like, bro, it's not right. So it's important that you build this attachment with the kids. But check this out, what's happening to the kids when they go to school. Okay? Remember, you're sending them away for hours. The teachers might be with your child for more time than you for the day. Because you got enough time to do daycare, to do dinner when you get home and chill for a couple hours, and then that's it. Teachers are spending more time with the kids more than the parents nowadays. Now check this out.
Less innocent and more adult-like than their white peers.
I'm gonna give you the term first. Adultification bias. Adultification bias. Okay, check this out.
United States, adults view Black girls as less innocent and more adult-like than their white peers starting as young as 5 years old. This is known as adultification bias. A groundbreaking study by Georgetown Law Center on poverty and inequality found that adults believe Black girls need less nurturing, less protection, less support, and less comforting.
Did y'all hear that? I'm not gonna stop the whole thing. I want you to go through it, but they said Black girls, okay? Black girls need less comforting, less support, less nurturing. So wait, when you leave your parents and you go to school and you're not getting the same level of comfort and care when something's the matter, every time. I'm like, what did the teacher say? What did the teacher do? What's the answer, y'all? Oh, she told me sit down and go. No empathy, no nothing. It's like a rare occasion where you get a quality teacher that is going to be kind and nurturing and attend to your child's problem. But the Black girls are being judged. You got lack of the empathy, but you want to judge the Black girl. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna shut my mouth. I'm gonna let the video speak for itself. Go ahead.
Related studies show that Black girls are punished at a disproportionate rate in schools and the juvenile justice system. These statistics reveal an alarming reality, but do they reflect the experiences of Black girls and women? We conducted focus groups across the country to hear about their lived experiences. They told us that Black girls often face higher standards. I feel like you cannot make mistakes as a Black girl.
Black girls don't get second chances.
But in similar situations, Black girls are treated differently. And white girls' mistakes might be met with sympathy and understanding. But time after time, Black girls are punished instead because they are held to a more adult standard of behavior. Everybody says, oh, you should have known better. They're not even acting like we're children. Those different standards may be linked to harsher treatment for Black girls. We heard stories about adults holding Black girls more accountable for their actions. During a foursquare game at school, one of the balls hit a girl in the face. They just threw assault and battery on my record. I had to transfer to a different school, but the other school didn't want to take me because I had assault and battery on my record.
That's crazy.
In our focus groups, they overwhelmingly agree that adultification bias is associated with punitive treatment. Negative stereotypes of Black women are also projected onto Black girls, which can contribute to adultification bias. Focus group participants overwhelmingly confirmed that even when they were young, adults viewed them as less innocent than their white peers.
Mm.
There was this assumption that you're cussing people out, drinking, and having sex. But since I never thought about that before, they were basically introducing me to those topics right then.
In 6th grade, the school nurse asked my aunt if I was sexually active.
Mm.
And I was like, at the time, like, what? Nobody has sex. Like, I didn't know anyone that has sex. She would never think to ask my white friend that.
Mm.
Black women and girls also told us that adults stereotype them as too loud, aggressive, or angry, and see Black girls' actions as threatening and disrespectful. Adultification bias erases the distinction between childhood and adulthood, which can have a harmful impact on the lives of Black girls. We need to work together to end adultification bias.
All right. So that was from Georgetown Law Center on poverty. Poverty and inequality. Okay. So I almost stopped because I remember. Okay. So imagine me in the 11th grade, so hyped to go to hair school, went to hair school, and what it did, good and bad, it put me in a class with, I stopped being in class with my peers, right? The Black kids, the ones that were in modified. Okay. Check this out. Modified. Y'all couldn't play that game with me because I came from the mentally gifted program, right? Only because Miss Pat in the 2nd grade was like, this girl is smart. I need to pull her out this class and I need her to be in the other classes. They used to have this program called Mentally Gifted. Honestly, I don't even know. Like, it's just we're smart. And they were trying to make us like, oh my gosh, not these kids, not they're all smart. Then I realized when I got older, a lot of kids are smart. But anyway, they stopped the program. I don't know why, but I already saw myself. Y'all see that? I already saw myself as smart because somebody picked it out. I was like, oh snap, I'm smart. Let me start acting smart. Let me start reading. Let me start doing my homework. Imagine the flip side. If somebody said I'm dumb, if somebody said I couldn't do stuff. So anyway, long story short, I was in class with a bunch of Caucasian white girls, and they were a grade lower. We had a Black teacher, and he was like, the girls literally were like, oh my gosh, you have to change to the teacher. You have to change the test from Friday because I have 2 exams already. Oh my gosh, yes, I have 2. They all co-signing, trying to pressure the teacher to change the test date every single time he put a test date up. Honestly, I can't say I've seen them do it to other teachers, but to the Black guy, they was doing it. And he was like rolling his eyes like, yo, shut the hell up and sit down. Like, he didn't say that. He wanted to. When I walk out the class, he'd be like, do you see this? Right. And so it's like they are not punished for being demanding. They're not seen as threatening. Like he would laugh if you're saying this little girl is threatening. She's a girl. She's a kid. That's what happens when you're not allowing these girls to be kids, when you're treating them like they're adults too early. Okay. So it's like almost like the racism creeps into the classroom. It creeps in because how are you treating somebody differently because of their race? Can't say it's not racism. It's subtle, but it's there. And how's it all across the board? And how so many teachers, so many police officers, so many people have the same idea about our Black girls. And it starts as young as 5 years old. Okay? Black girls need less nurturing, less protection, less support, and less comfort. Do you know what happens when you don't hug a kid? Like a newborn baby can die if you don't hug them, if you don't nurture them. So what happens to this young girl, right? I remember when I was a child thinking, why do the boys get to go outside and play and I got to stay inside and do the housework and do this and that? That's not fair. The boys this and that. No. And how we grew up in the household is different than how the boys grew up. I don't know if it's like, oh, let the boys play because they got to work later. Now I have a little more empathy for the boys because they're going to have a hard life when they come out the house, right? just saying, like, I get it now, guys. But when I was younger, I couldn't stand you. Why he get to play? Why can't I go? I was like, why he get to go play basketball and I can't play basketball? Why can't, it was a bunch of that, right? So imagine feeling like that, and I can't do this, I can't do that. Hey boo, how are you, Leah? I can't. We talking about black girls. All right. So now let me ask you, young black girl, do you feel like people are not seeing you as innocent in school, or other girls in different races, they get treated like more gentle, more like and later on we're gonna talk about how somebody said, oh, their tears have more weight. I said, what? This is crazy. So white girls' mistakes are met with sympathy and understanding, and black girls are punished instead. And you just saw the story about the assault and battery. That is so sad. You know what I mean? Like, imagine putting something on a girl's record, right? Imagine, it's like the things you would never want to happen to a girl. Now you're doing it to the black girl, right? And you're like, and she's mad. Like, what did I do? Why am I being singled out? Why am I getting mistreated? And then you wonder why she's upset. She falls into that stereotype that you say because she's been mistreated. Yo, when I used to get pushed around, I wouldn't say nobody pushed me, it was like bullying me, right? What they did, they was talking a lot of junk behind my back. They just da, 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 da. It put me under a lot of mental pressure. I'm like, I know you're talking about me. So I'll let it go on for a little bit, and then I'll snap. And it's like, oh, I'll snap. It's like, Rufus is finna, it's like, okay, I'm ready to fight. I'm like, I don't want to get in trouble. I'm ready to fight because I'm sick of y'all. But that mental pressure, always people criticizing you all the time, that's a hostile environment. Until this day, I'm going through a hostile environment. Somebody literally was like, okay, because their mother went through certain things. And I was like, oh, am I crazy? Like, if women are jealous, they're going to start acting. So I'm like, oh, that's what that was. I never knew what it was. But it was constantly having to go through that. And then I'm dealing with something. And then the teacher, man, like, why you don't got a smile on your face? And now I'm getting it from a teacher too? That's crazy. All right. Negative stereotypes about Black women that they're angry, aggressive, and hypersexualized, right? That's a projected onto Black girls. What a sin. What a sin that you take a stereotype and put it on a little kid. You should be ashamed of yourself. Ashamed of yourself. And then where's the training? Y'all want to talk about cops and the cops need the training? What about the teachers? The teachers need cultural sensitivity training. The receptionist needs cultural sensitivity training. All of them, it's crazy. So it says, and the study found that adults have less empathy for Black girls than their white peers. Adults have less empathy. They literally asked the question in these focus groups, and they have less empathy for a Black girl. Why is that? Because you think, and I'm sure it's the same for little boys, because boys go through this all the time. I know that because they say, oh, they're cute up until a certain age, and then they're a threat. Boys go through this. I know Black boys go through this, but it was very shocking to see how the girls are going through this. They say you know better as coded language for high expectation for Black girls. So what you're saying is when you say you know better, and I'm like, I heard that before. I heard that. You know better. I heard that before. So if another race, a white girl does make a mistake, but I'm supposed to know better because you're treating me like an adult. Because it's like I feel like we're still in the zoo or something. Like, where this species, let me touch her hair. Let me, why is her body shaped like that? Oh my God, let me know. I don't know what's going on. Let me just put all of my stereotypes on you. Oh, I'm lying? Okay, so why did I go into work one day a while ago and I was like wearing a cute outfit or whatever, and then like one girl was being positive. She's like, oh my gosh, like, oh, this is like a peekaboo type of thing, like that's so cute. And then the other one was like, oh yeah, do you have a tattoo all over your stomach? And she, oop. Well, what's the oop for? Because you said something crazy. You said something crazy. Black girls are feeling it because the second I did that video on the wig thing, somebody saying, is that a wig? Everybody was like, I know exactly what you're talking about, sis. It's not just me. It's not just one. It didn't happen to one person. When it's happening over and over again, to like if every black girl has this experience, something's wrong with the system. Okay. You know better. That's what you're saying to the kids. You're putting stereotypes of what you see on TV onto my daughters. Are you kidding me? You know how much I have to build self-esteem? I'm like, I don't care what their hair texture is, how long their hair is. You are an amazing young lady. You're gorgeous. You're beautiful. I have to build up their self-esteem because they're going to feel insecure. Like, wait, my hair's not the same as them. My hair's a little different. My hair's a little shorter. My hair's a little curly. It doesn't go straight. I want to just swing my hair, mommy. Oh my gosh, it's sad. It's so sad. And then you wonder, these are the same girls that got to grow up and be confident, bold queens, not overly inflated egomaniacs that say it's all about me. Why is it all about you when you get older? Because when you were younger, it wasn't about you. You wasn't loved properly. I'm trying to figure out what's the immaturity in our society. That's what part of the problem. Do you guys agree? This is part of the problem of when you're growing up, that people don't see you as a human being. Child, I got the tissue ready because now I'm just getting upset. But earlier I was boo-hooing. All right. So one of the children I helped raise, not my own. I went to the school and I was stepping in as a parent. And let me tell you, okay? Let me tell you. Before that story, I was on YouTube. And the guy was like, "Oh, did you fight? Are you gonna fight? Or did you fight a lot? Like all black girls fight. That's what they see on TV. And you think TV doesn't matter, and you think representation doesn't matter, and you don't think that the way they portray us on there, super our bodies all crazy. Like you gotta have your body done. You gotta have a bad attitude. You gotta be fighting somebody. Or I mean, didn't one of the shows got canceled? Like." Because you're not fighting enough? What was it? Because they didn't fist fight? Is that why it got canceled? Bring it back. Oh my gosh. Was it selling Tampa? Anyway, a little upset about that. But I'm just like, why can't we be great? So this is the stereotype that he was saying that I'm automatically a fighting girl because I'm black. Are you kidding me? I'm automatically aggressive because I'm black. Mind you, the people that said what they said to me about the tattoo on my stomach, and I had to say, I have no tattoos. It's a stereotype. I think that was the most disgusting comment I ever got in my life. Yeah, one of the most disgusting ones. And it's not like it's a problem with the people, because it's like, I know you don't mean it, but it's just like, why do you think like that, right? And it's offensive to me. And you may mean it. Let me. You know what? I always give people the benefit of the doubt. No, you meant that, right? You meant that. That's how you think. That's what you think in your mind. That we all have this stereotype. Meanwhile, your people. I mean, anyway, let me go. He said it's really crazy out here. You stop trying to understand, right? Stop trying to understand. Because it's like, I was like, why is it so? Why is this behavior like? Why are we compensating for why do we have to put ourselves so high and mighty because we are put so low? You got to understand it's the trauma response. I'm not a psychiatrist or a therapist or anything like that, but to me it looks like somebody, you know how you see an overly confident man, like he's very cocky as hell. You like, that's the most insecure guy. Like I stay away from those guys. Sorry, I'm too smart. I'm too smart. You too cocky, bro. Something is inadequate here. Okay. You're too cocky. I get it. You know, you're naming yourself all types of things that you're not. Like, come on, bro. It's not real. You know, the short guy that like act like he gonna beat somebody up. You know what's up. So this is a reason. There's a reason why women are acting the way they act, because they're mistreated. I'm not making an excuse, but we have to go back and start saying like, oh, as naive as women, I see naive women now. I'm like, they're not doing this on purpose. Like, it's just what it is. It's just catching a bad habit and sticking with it. And now you're getting blamed for it. I caught a bad habit when I was younger and I stuck with it, and I get hell for it to this day. And it's like, I didn't mean to grab it. I ain't gonna tell you what it is. Y'all not gonna Right? So it really helped me because I was just like you said, you want to give up and say, throw in a towel. There's people that saying I'm going to another men saying they're going to another country and finding a wife and this and but I really wanted to understand the problem because I like to work and get solutions. All right, so move on. There's a lot. All right. So it was something I was gonna say. Oh yeah, they gonna label my girl she's in a gang? Are you kidding me? How can a little girl be in a gang? This is a fifth grader. This is what I'm trying to tell you. I was like, wait, why is it so young though? Why is it at 5 years old? Oh, she's too sassy. Oh, she's too this or she's too that. She got attitude problem. I'm about to get to it. They called the girl in a gang. But here's the problem. The only reason why, like, if it was my child, I'd have been like, I knew that the bias was happening. I didn't understand. Like, I'm like, they're too old for you to start saying they're in a gang. They don't even know what gangs are. They were just a group of friends. They got catty. You trying to tell me no white girls got catty with each other? And you gonna call them a gang? I was like, oh, like I was about to flip the table, but I was like, chill. And then they was like, but the only problem was she had personal problems. So I knew that where her behavior was coming from. I knew what sometimes when you know where the behavior is coming from, you could be more understanding, but you don't want to understand. And then you label them. This is outrageous to me. All right. So I couldn't do anything about it because it wasn't my child and I didn't have the accountability wasn't there. The level of control wasn't there. And they were like, if you take her and put her in another school, she's going to be the same way. That's how they talk to me, child. Oh my gosh. And the smidgen of truth there. But I was like, this is so racist. Like, can you imagine? Now, say that about my daughters right now. Yes, we gonna fight. No, we gonna fight. There's no way. No, we ain't fighting. But you know what I'm saying. I had to take the L on that one. I was like, this girl gonna embarrass me. This ain't my kids. This ain't my issue. I didn't start this, okay? I didn't have her since she was a baby. So I had to let that one go. But I was like, y'all got one, but I ain't gonna let you get the next one. So yeah, I was super nice to the person that said I got a tattoo on my stomach. Like, you know how, this stereotype. But I felt really degraded. I was like, really nice to these people. And you saying stuff about that time. A nice person. Imagine when you find a different girl that is not as nice, that is more demanding, that is more whatever. Okay? It's all types of us. Now, there's two stereotypes that we have about Black women. One is Sapphire, the angry Black woman. Okay? The angry Black woman. Have y'all ever heard of Sapphire? Listen, this is new to me. I have to share with you what I learned. Okay, hold on. Let me show you who Sapphire is. Wait, what's going on? There we go. Let me show you. All right, so the Sapphire caricature. Now, you know caricature is like a cartoon, crazy version of yourself. Watch this. Sapphire caricature. Make sure y'all can see everything. Hold on. We finna Black History y'all today. That's what we finna do. Y'all gotta understand where this is coming from, okay? Because we don't have history class, like real history class. My daughter's in HBCU. She's having history class, but I ain't have this. The Sapphire caricature, and this is for all races, so you can see where this stuff is coming from. Portrays Black women as rude, loud, malicious. You see the picture right here? Okay? What is that? Okay? Black women have been portrayed with their body out forever. This ain't nothing new. Instagram is not nothing new. Check this out. The Sapphire caricature portrays Black women as rude, loud, malicious, stubborn, and overbearing. This is the angry Black woman popularized in the cinema and on television. Now, let me ask you this. When in slavery days, when did they have time to be all of this rude, loud, and malicious if they was a slave? So y'all just started putting this on TV and it became a thing. She was a tart tongue and emasculating. One hand on the hip and the other pointing and jabbing, or arms akimbo violently and rhythmically rocking her head. Every time we move our little neck, they trying to act like we're crazy. And it's annoying. But our neck moves and now the white girl neck moves. But I'm just saying. Mocking African American men for offenses ranging from being unemployed, right? So you're mocking your man for being unemployed. which is not his fault. Okay. Like, not all the time, and sexually pursuing white women. So all of this man anger because she went to another race. He went to another race is not new. She has a shrill nagger with irrational states of anger and indignation, and often meaning mean-spirited and abusive. Although African American men are her primary targets, she has venom for anyone who insults or disrespects her. Stop playing into the stereotype, ladies. The Sapphire desire to dominate in her hypersensitivity to injustices. Hypersensitivity, meaning you're too sensitive to injustices, make her a perpetual complainer. Check this out. But she does not criticize to improve things. Rather, she criticizes, make sure you share this video, because she is unendingly bitter. Oh my gosh. This is how we are being portrayed and wishes that unhappiness on others. The Sapphire caricature is a harsh portrayal of African American women, but it is more than that. It is a social control mechanism that is employed to punish Black women who violate the societal norms that encourage them to be passive, servile, non-threatening, and unseen. So basically, they didn't like the fact that we was maybe the first feminists, right? Maybe we want to speak up for ourselves. So you blow it up. Have you ever heard of propaganda? Have you ever heard of propaganda? Let me get you the definition of propaganda, because this is that I learned something in school. Yes, you shouldn't have taught me no words. You should never gave me a dictionary. No, because I look words up all the time. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Public education. Community college. All right, and online education. Look at my online education. Look at it. Look. All right, here we go. Watch this. And propaganda is information, especially of a biased and misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. Propaganda. Sapphire is propaganda. This is how it got into the white psyche. You keep putting stuff out. Look at this. I'm on the defense now. Like our women are beating our men. Look at her. She's bigger than her man, and she's beating them up. Blackout. Look at this. Look at this. Sassy mammies. During the Jim Crow period, when real Blacks were often beaten, jailed, and killed for arguing with whites, fictional mammies were allowed to pretend chastise whites, including men. Their sassiness was supposed to indicate that they were accepted as members of the white family, and acceptance of that sassiness implied that slavery and segregation were not overly oppressive. So they made up. Okay, so the men were the aggressors, right? The men are the dangerous one. Our Black men are dangerous, and our women, their sassiness, their mouth. Oh my gosh, their mouth is going to kill you. You're going to die. If they are sassy to you, you're going to die. So this is the propaganda. This is why we have angry Black women. And then if we can't be angry, if they get, okay, wait, well, you're getting ahead of yourself, Ruth. Hold on, right? So white culture's assumption of Black women is that they have a bad attitude, or they just plain bad. Okay, just talk about the women today. Just talk about the women. So attitude problem equals insubordination. We have to control these women. If they speak up for themselves and they feeling the vibe, we got that emotional, like, intelligence. We understand this people not for you. I don't like that teacher. You don't ever hear the kids like, I don't like her. I don't like that teacher. Something about her. They know when you don't like them. And when I go to my kids' school, they be like, Mommy, that teacher was so fake. She was being fake nice with you, Mom. Because when you gone, and I've seen it in daycare, when the parents go, they start acting like a whole crazy beast. Okay? Now remember, these Black little girls got to deal with real life at home, not like the little princesses, right? I'm not saying that every white girl's life is great, but it's not that many silver and spoon mouth Black girls in the world that's not purchasing diamond earrings for $80,000 like Blue Ivy. I'm just moving on, okay? How many Blue Ivies we got though? Exactly. All right, so the problem is it erases a distinction between adult and child in this Black girl. You're treating her like an adult. Can you imagine a kid does a crime and you try him like an adult? So the Black girls are being tried as adults at school. They're being tried as adults in the classroom. They're being punished for even opening up their mouth. How dare you speak up? How dare you say that you feel uncomfortable and you don't like something? Oh, and by the way, you didn't say it the way I like you to say it. So now I'm going to show you who's boss. I tell my kids all the time, let me tell you something. When I come around, they're going to they're going to chill with that. I'm coming to the school just so they know they cannot mess with my kids. You got to go, parents, go to the parent teacher conferences or your kids are going to be a victim of such and such. When your no parents is around, they start slapping labels, they start throwing y'all special ed. I watched them throw all them boys in special education just because the boys that couldn't pass a test. They throw them in special education, meaning you're going to be in the class with kids that don't pay attention and you're automatically going to get bad grades because you're going to be playing around and laughing around. Remember I told you I got kicked. I found ways to get out of the normal classroom with kids my age so that way I could be with the people that actually were serious about school. I didn't have to fall into that peer pressure. Don't wear your book bag. Don't do your homework. I got out of that. But what about the kids that didn't? It's real consequences to that. So you have to go to the school and let them know you're not going to, like, I'm going to show up for my kid. I'm going to advocate for my child. If you don't advocate for your child, don't show up when they're trying to suspend them or when they're trying to expel them. That's not the time. You should have came to the parent teacher conference. Hey, I missed them too, but I'm here this year. What's up? How y'all doing? My name is Ruth. Yep. You can send me the thing. Yep. She's going to send in her assignments. Yeah, I know her grades are great. Yeah, they're great, but she can get all A's because I know the potential of my child. Okay. One of my kids, we were going through a lot of moves that year and they had like a D. And I'm like, listen, you are not, people start saying things like you're a D student, you're a D. I said, you're an A student. Let me tell you how she turned all her grades around and she's an A student. If I let her keep that label, she would continue forever until the rest of high school thinking she's a D student. But now she's getting all A's. So I'm like, bet, y'all getting A's and B's? Well, this is what you got to do to get all A's. I'm just letting you know if you want to do all A's. So when I start opening up my mouth in that conversation, they know, oh, she knows what she's talking about. Oh. She's like she said National Honor Society. She's like NHS. I'm like, my kids don't know what NHS means. It's National Honor Society. I have to break things down for them because, sorry, we don't talk about that at home. We got other issues to talk about. But when she realized I knew what that meant, she's like, oh, okay. Right? Oh, okay. Like, yeah, because they're kids. They don't know what the heck y'all talk about and they could care less until you make them care. That's how it is when you have teachers. So you have to be your kid's teacher at home because you got to let them know, like, hey, I know what you're learning at school, but y'all got to come tell me what's going on so I could tell you that's facts and that's a lie. That's how it is in my house, you know? And if it sounds a little fishy, bring it to me so I can tell you what's really real. And I got my own, I told my teacher, but she's like Black Studies or something like that. I said, oh, we do it at home. Don't worry. She's getting it. She's definitely getting it. Okay. So basically, it leads to when teachers are treating our girls like they're adults, they tend to blow things out of proportion. That's how the suspensions come up. That's how you get in trouble. Thank God I went to like a Black middle school because I used to get into fights and they understood. I'm like, I knew the rule. Don't touch them first, Ruth, right? I'm a good kid. Like, I'm a good kid, but I was being pushed around and I'm like, listen, I'm not pushed around physically, but mentally, I'm like, I can't study if y'all keep talking trash behind my back and I want to, you know, and I'm not violent. I'm the least violent person you would know. I would literally get into a fight like, no, stop hitting them, Ruth. But man, some kids, man, they sure know how to instigate. One thing about kids, they sure know. Oh, she said she want to fight. And I said, like, oh, really? Because I ain't backing down. I ain't never backed down from fighting. I'm like, well, then I said, I don't want to fight. So tell her I don't want to fight. So yeah, I guess I did back down because I was like, it's stupid. But that's the thing that kids got to deal with. You know, what's funny is that, or not funny, is that teachers want to call the kid, mind you, okay, when you go to the schools, what color is the teachers? Most of the teachers are white, y'all. Okay. So this is why this is a real problem because it's not like they're going to all, like, It depends on where you live, but most likely your kids are going to a school that have a lot of white teachers. Everybody's not going to understand or be sensitive or be nice. Period. They're just not nice at all. So bonk your black kid. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't care. They mean to everybody. I had Miss Butler, side note, she was the meanest black teacher I ever seen. She was very strict. But let me tell you about excellence. When you got them strict teachers and this is a strict teacher, you be on your P's and Q's and you like, yeah, I beat that. I beat her little standards, I beat her little expectations. So it's a good feeling. But anyway, so the teachers are more like rude too. They got attitudes, they're rude, they're moody, and then you want to judge a little black girl? Don't you see the hypocrisy? Like, are y'all kidding me? Y'all can't even put on a front for parent teacher. Y'all can't even be nice enough. You can't even give me the mask enough for parent teacher conference for a 10, 15-minute conference before all your little attitude pops out, but you want to get mad at a little girl. I don't argue with kids. My daughter, I mean, like the kids are going to act up, they're going to play. But once you start showing up, they're going to start feeling that accountability. When y'all not showing up, they don't feel that accountability. Before I hit the school, my daughter was like, Mom, I got something to tell you. The teacher going to say, I laugh a lot in class because of my friend. But I tell you about them friends. I said, baby girl, you don't come to school for friends. And now that you know your mom's going to show up and find out everything you're doing, she going to cut all that out. But if we're not stepping in and intervening for their kid, for their education and for their treatment, then it's going to go downhill. They are assuming that black girls are sexually active early. You are perceiving them as angry and less innocent. They get less sympathy and they get all these things. So the other thing was the Jezebel. I told you about Sapphire, but Jezebel. Here we go. That's the hypersexualization of black women. I had the slide for you, but I don't have it right now. Where basically black women were sold off of like how their body was built, right? Back in the day, in slavery times. So now they're assuming that black girls are sexually active early, at an early age, introducing these new concepts to them really, really early. And they're less innocent than their white peers. Okay? So this is what you have to talk to your child about. If you have children this age, even younger, okay? So I'm gonna show you in your face. Hold on, in your face. Watch this. Let me show you something real quick. Watch this. All right, so this is called Listening to Black Women and Girls. This is the study that was done. Let me show you what it looks like. You can Google it. It's law.georgetown.edu. See, this is an initiative for gender justice and opportunity. So it's called Listening to Black Women and Girls. Okay. Listening to Black Women and Girls. So if you want to check it out, it's 24 pages. Go ahead and check it out. But this is what I want to show you. Let me show you a couple of things real quick. I'll let you go. All right. So it says, check this out. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Okay, you see this? It says, if you see like a little white girl that's crying, people will be more sympathetic than if you see a little black girl that's crying. You don't have the same level of empathy for them because it's just like, okay, I feel bad for this little white person because her tears carry more value than this black girl's. That's somebody age 20 through 29 saying that. You know, like white tears. It's the same thing. Like when hey Dron, because you can trace it all the way back. White woman crying, black woman crying, not the same thing. Not the same thing. We know this, but we didn't think it was happening to our daughters, right? If you were a black girl, wouldn't you fight to be heard? Especially if your tears don't matter like your peers. So all of the behaviors that you're seeing to fight to get heard, even sometimes, honestly, sometimes we're wrong. Sometimes we are absolutely wrong, but we've been fighting to get heard for so long and not heard and not comforted like a girl should be, right? Women, we need a little more empathy. We need a little more care. We need to be handled. We need to be hugged. Relationships is like the number one thing. Once the girl hits 30, I know in their 20s, they're like, I don't need a man and all that. But they start hitting 30, that thing start kicking in like, oh, I love relationships are important to me. It's not money, 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 money all the time. If she money, money, money by the time she's 30, I don't care if she's a top lawyer. Hey Lewis, how are you? I don't care if she's a top lawyer. I don't care whatever she does. They're losing the lawyers because they're going to get families. Families start to get important to them because we can only work so much. And we're like, where's my husband? Where's my kids? I'm going to leave my legacy now, which is something that God put in us, a desire so the human race can continue. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't like when women deny that their natural desires. Say it, sis. You want to get married? Say it, sis. If you need to be held, say it. If you want to be comforted, say it. Stop trying to be like men and be yourself. He says companionship is significant. Absolutely. You know what? I didn't even put the title over here, y'all. Black girls treated like adults too soon. Black girls treated like adults too soon. Well, let's leave it that way. Post it and pin it. There you go. All right. So there you go. Now I got some more smoke for you. Hold on. Maybe that's why when we get older, we like, well, you should have said that in a better tone. Because we're pretty much sick of it at this point. I'm not making excuses, but just put yourself in a woman's shoes for a second. You got a bunch of people telling you what you can't do. You got men like looking like they got it easy when they don't got it easy. But they're doing things and you're like, I wish I could do that as a man. I wish I could get away with that. Society would let me get away with that. You can't do what they do. Once you become mature, I'm gonna start this conversation like emotionally mature. You start realizing we're not the same, and we're like, you know what? It's okay not to be the same. I'm not gonna lie. If I could come back again, I'm not coming as a man. I am not. Y'all crazy? Are you crazy? I like looking cute. All right, please. Best to be upfront. Lewis says it's going to look like a person is caving in when they change their mind. Right. You got to be upfront that you want a companion. Right. It's like, oh, I don't want to be in a relationship. I don't, deep down inside, you know you want to be in a relationship. It's just the sister code says, don't say you need a man. Bump the sister code. I don't care about that. I care about my future. I care about my children's future. And I want my girls to come into a society where it's respected that you are a mother. It's respected. I get from work, I get the flack. Oh, you could have been this and that. Ask me what my kids are doing, though. Ask me what my kids are doing. When they're doing well, I feel good about that. When they're all straight, what? What are you talking about? You don't know this kind of level of success because your family jacked up, sir. Don't worry about what I'm doing, okay? I'm keeping it together. I'm still in the fight in the game, and my kids doing good. We don't value women's role in society. That's another issue. That's why women are fighting to be men so bad because y'all don't value what women do. You don't value that the kids come out with good morals. You don't value that tomorrow's generation is better off. You don't value like, oh, I'm glad I had a baby with her because my kids came out good. Right? We want to celebrate the prom and all of these things, and that's cute. But just remember, if the women are not putting good values into those kids, society tomorrow, trash. All right, so they have to become adults. Let's go to page 10. Hold on a second. Check this out. Check. I got proof. Y'all think I'm joking. All right, so let's go to page 2. Anyway. All right, check this out. Check this out. The topic of socialized adultification arose frequently in our focus groups. Wait, let me see if they can see it. You can see it if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. This phenomenon is distinct from stereotyping. It's different from stereotyping that was central to our adultification bias inquiry. So the hypothesis, remember back when we were doing science, the hypothesis was it's different. Socialized adultification is different from stereotypes, right? It's been studied extensively. Socialized adultification has been studied extensively by researchers who have found that when youth, particularly youth in low-income families, assume adult-like roles of responsibility to meet family needs, such as caregivers. There's some kids that got to be caregivers. There's some kids I know they have to be wage earners, right? Little boys turn into men before their time and they got to pay the bills at the house instead of going to college. Instead of going to take care of themselves, they got to take care of the mama. These children may prematurely acquire adult knowledge, behave more maturely, and display greater resilience than their peers. I remember having a lot more resilience. I remember also having to take care of 3 children when I was just a sister, right? What happens is they try to say don't give them too much responsibility, because what's going to happen they get more mature and they do everything in life way faster, right? That's why when they have kids earlier, they get married earlier because they are used to that adult lifestyle, right? But check this out. Now they're doing adult things at home. So now they're seeming mature at school and now they're getting treated like an adult. In other words, they effectively learn to behave in ways that can be perceived as more adult-like than their actual development stage. Oh, don't you think it's dangerous? Don't you think it's dangerous to be like, oh, well, I am going to treat this kid like an adult only because, well, you want to act like you grown. I'm going to treat you like you grown. How many times we heard that? How many times we heard that? We definitely heard that. Many of our focus group participants reinforced this notion, describing the adult-like roles they were expected to play in their own families that had a maturing effect on them, as well as their need to behave more independently as a result of socio-economic pressures. Let me break that down for you. So when you give your kid too much responsibility, and we've all been there, right? You got to be careful. Okay. There was a point where at some point I gave my daughter a pass. I'm like, girl, you don't got to do nothing else. Take care of yourself. Only because I knew what it was like. I knew what it was like always having to take care of other people. So I'm like, at this point, you've helped our family. You've been there. You've been the big sister. Do your thing. When you say no, it's no. If you can't do it, you can't do it. I don't know if she'll ever appreciate it. Maybe when she has a teenage daughter. I don't know if she'll ever appreciate it, because I remember the stories of the kids in the farm. They got to drop out of school and work on a farm, and they can't go get their education because they got to help the family. That's what they were born to do. No, let them go create a future for themselves. You already didn't give them nothing. Now you want to hold them back? Anyway, so now they have this maturing effect on them, their responsibilities. Too much adult pressure on the child is giving them an adult type of attitude. And they also, on top of that, they feel like they have to behave more independently because they ain't got no money. So now they want to get a job. They want to get a car because all their friends is doing certain things and they don't have no money. Imagine you want to hurry up and grow up because you don't have no money. You were growing up with economic pressure. How you feel economic pressure in high school? It's crazy. But some kids, they don't have that economic pressure. But Black girls do. Black girls do. So there's no, it's almost like you should feel more empathy for them, right? It's like you should feel more empathy for a Black girl, because she most likely, if she has siblings at home, got to take care of the siblings. They used to try to get, they used to be like, why are you late? I was like, I have to take care of my brother and sister. Sometimes it was true, and sometimes I was like, well, that worked, right? So it's important that the kids should have more empathy. You give them more grace, not less, because they have a hard life. You're punishing her like, oh, she already have a hard life. So let me go ahead and make her life even harder. Let me go punish her. That feels good. Power trip. A lot of these educators are on a power trip. They have no power when they get home and they just want to run their mouth all up and down the schools. They walk around like they're just authority. And that's why they go into these professions. You would think it was to help them, but some of them say, oh, I'm just here for the paycheck. It's been said. I've heard it. All right. Can you imagine? Like my teacher said, I'm here for the paycheck. Not to educate me. When you just here for the money? Like, I have to spend time with you so I can get paid. So that's it. This is all this is. This is just a transaction. That's horrible. That's horrible. You should actually fire people for saying stuff like that, schools. Yes, you should. All right. I guess we're taught to work hard, and so maybe they see us as being grown from a Black woman. Right? Maybe they see us as being grown. Right? Hold on. Because we shouldn't be doing that at our age, but we have to work for it. The way Black girls are raised is to be independent. Right then and there. Okay? Right then and there. We're raised to be independent. Why? Because when girls may find themselves, young girls may find themselves in a scenario where they have to fend for themselves, take care of themselves, so they're raised to be independent and be like go-getters to get what you want for yourself. But it's like white girls, they have things handed down to them. They get it so easy. So it's like they don't have to struggle the way Black people are struggling. This is from the age group 17 to 23. So they're feeling this pressure. All right. So somebody says, hold on. I think it's unfair. Maybe like some people at our schools are like, oh yeah, she's fast. This is their mentality. I'm going to treat her how she acts. But really, we don't know. We're still kids trying to grow up and learn from our mistakes. And they're like accusing girls. They're accusing us. And so I think we still have a lot of learning to do, and we shouldn't be treated as adults. Some participants, including those who were educators, confirmed. This is confirmed that noting that they and their colleagues treat Black girls who behave maturely as older than they are. As older than they are. He says, I've watched, teachers, counselors, and these people get into power struggles with these girls because it's like, I forget that she's 10. Because when I asked her to do so and so, she responded like an adult. And so how do I treat this child like a child? They lack training to handle our children. If the girl's at home and she's the boss of the kids, Uru, and she's the boss of the kids, right? And then you want to come tell her what to do, and she's responding to you like an adult, what do? You respond back to her? What did I say before? I don't argue with children. You have to realize that statement right there is God gave it to me, and I was like, I had to realize I am not going to argue with a baby, a kid, a child. They're not on my level. They just hear people talking, but they don't really know or understand the consequences behind their actions. So let me school them and let them know, baby girl, that's not how you talk to me. I still got to check my own grown kids. Is that how you talk to your mother? That's not how you talk to me. Just reminder, hey, come on, come back. I'm an adult and you're a child. Stay in your place. And it's not in a rude way, and it's not in a disrespectful way. I did a lot of stuff for you, girl. You better get it together. And you're going to be asking me for more stuff later. And you want me to do nice things for you. So you're going to treat me with respect. So they need that training. Power struggle? I get it. It's not easy. They're difficult. Okay. but they've gone through a lot of stuff. But just like I said, the girls in high school, they did the same thing to the instructor. These little white girls were actually bullying the instructor, like, can you change the test? I need this test changed. And the attitude about it and the way they were talking, they were just being kids. But it's sympathy for them. Where's the sympathy for the black girls? They don't have the same dynamic. You can't treat the same people. And one person don't have to worry about being an adult at home and the other person does. You can't treat them the same way. You have to understand, maybe have a conversation with them. So let's talk about solutions. Let's talk about solutions. All right. So participants dominantly felt that meaningful change requires action in addition to awareness. All right. If you know you have a bias, I have a bias. Okay, well, maybe I think that she's just because she's black and she's a girl, like maybe I'm treating her like an adult and I shouldn't be. If you know that it's happening, maybe you could do something about it. Maybe you don't have the exact answers, but you can do something about it. Yeah, maybe it might encourage someone, even if it does something even small to convince a teacher, like, oh, maybe I see this person as being attitudinal because I have a bias. Maybe I won't call the superintendent, Karen. Are you kidding? Who calls the superintendent on a kid? I'm confused. That's crazy. This is what I'm saying. They're blowing it up because you act like it's about to really get all crazy. But they're still a child. They think differently than you as an adult. So making this narrative public is step one. Okay. Let's see. Now, here they go. It's probably not going to change in the classroom because they're not getting proper training, or they really don't know how to deal with inner city kids or even the ones in their neighborhoods because they're not exposed. They're still going to have preconceived notions. Preconceived notions. All right, so that's one of them. It's just like, okay, what's the solution? That's one. Just awareness and take action. Solution number two is improve cultural competency and gender responsiveness can help educators and other authorities better understand Black girls and address bias and lack of cross-cultural experience. You don't know what it's like to be within another culture, right? So you can't really say what's really right or wrong if you don't have that training. If you don't really understand, if you didn't grow up that way, you don't understand what's going on. You're not understanding why she's talking to you like that. And you don't even have a response for her. You're just going straight to, oh, go to the principal. I'm not dealing with this. No sensitivity, no empathy. But if a white girl's saying the same thing to you, now you can understand because you were in her shoes. A central theme in identifying solutions was the need for training on gender responsiveness, in which realities of girls' lives are understood and addressed effectively, and cultural competency, in which varying cultural and community norms of students and families are learned or built on. Now, one thing I learned in the daycare world is this. You cannot, okay, like I've been asked, oh, can you bring him wine? This another. You cannot be like, oh, you don't think your kid is important because you have not done the thing I said to do, and or you're just assuming because they don't show up for report card conferences that they don't care about their kid. You're not considering what that parent has to go through each and every day. So you're not, you have to also understand, that's what they taught us, understand that the parent is going through a lot of things. This may not be the top of their list that they need, a tutor. Because they're trying to worry about saving their house or their lease is up or paying their bills. So excuse the hell out of them. If they don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, it happens. And then, hey, they get all that stuff settled. Now, have Maslow hierarchy of needs. Now, when they take care of their finances, now they're like, okay, kids, what y'all need? Happens. But if you don't know that, all right, so some teachers that are teaching in public school grew up in areas in public, they never experienced a Black person until they got to college. And so they really don't know how to interact. And there will be times when a teacher would really be intimidated by a middle school Black child, especially females, because they run their never said they didn't run their mouth, never said they didn't misbehave. But here's the thing. Simple things somehow become perceived as to be weaponized by people who, well, I guess, who just don't understand Black girls. You weaponize their attitudes or their behavior, and that's not good. Training on education. Another solution is training on communication with Black girls can de-escalate incidents and reduce over discipline. Okay. Stop suspending these girls when they need a counselor. They need a therapist. Solution number 4: educators and all other authorities should and don't wait till the it's a crisis. Don't wait until it's that bad. Should be trained to interact with Black girls with empathy. And it's a shame you got to teach people empathy and respect and use developmentally appropriate approaches. Bing, ding, bong, bing, bong, bing, bong, bing, bong. Developmentally appropriate approaches. I heard that some kid died over being 3 years old and they were getting beaten by the step kid. First of all, why are you beating a 3-year-old was what once somebody said. Developmentally appropriate. They're not developed enough to understand what they know. So you're the dumb one for not knowing how they operate. You didn't learn how they operate. Now you want to blame the kid. The same way I would say that you're the dumb one as the parent to the child when you think that, oh my gosh, you did that on purpose. Oh my gosh, you did that. Same way I would say that to the educator, to the kid. You're the dumb one because you didn't want to go learn about them. If they had autism, you would learn about that, right? You would learn what's that thing that they do? Special schools, right? Special education. You would learn about transgender, but you don't want to learn what Black girls go through. Yeah. So, another solution, they didn't talk about this, is I'm firmly for maybe Black girls just need to be educated by Black teachers. Maybe. Because you're going to get the rainbow of everybody. It's not going to be like all Black teachers are going to understand or be nice or be empathetic. If they have a bunch of them, they might find one teacher. They might find my Miss Pat. They might find their Miss Pat. She fought for me. Oh my gosh. She's like, no, you're going to take me out this class. Because what happened, oh my gosh. I never told y'all the story. All right, I'm going to let y'all go. What happened was when I was a kid, I was supposed to test out of a grade and they wouldn't let me test out of the grade. And I was like, why? I was getting mad because they kept sending me back. No, you did it wrong. You did it wrong. I didn't get skipped the grade because they was like, no, we're not skipping you. Like, we just not skipping you. You're not ready. And I'm like, well, why don't you tell me what I'm doing wrong? I got so frustrated. I said, why didn't you just tell me what I'm doing wrong? Oh, because I can't do that. Okay, well, y'all didn't even prepare me or anything. So the 10, I wrote a 10, like a big 1 and a little 0. And then I wrote a big 0 and a little 1. I'm like, I'm doing it right. Right? Like little stupid things like that. And it was like, oh, when the test was over, they're like, oh, you didn't do it the same size. I can tell you this and then the third. So my vindication came when I was in 2nd grade and Miss Pat came and she took me out because I'm literally reading all of the words on the board. Like, all the vocabulary words. They're like, Ruth, shut up. All the time I used to get, Ruth, be quiet. You can't answer, not Ruth. This is like, so, okay, why y'all don't want to skip me? No, I'm going to get on your nerves because y'all should have put me in another class because this is not my level. I need to be at my level. If you really cared, you'd put me at my level. But this is a different conversation. But my point is, when you have somebody advocating for you, your results are different. You don't come out insecure. You don't come out, you're going to feel love. You're going to feel empathy. You're going to feel like somebody cares about you. Somebody's fighting for you. And somebody expects a lot from you. Those early years mattered in my development. Everybody was, my mother never called me the B word. If the kids are getting that at home and they're getting cussed out left and right, everybody's not a perfect parent. But you come to school and you're a criminal at school too. You're a criminal at home, you're a criminal at school too. Come on, guys, let's have some sympathy for our kids. Act like they're your kids. Ooh, there's something in there. Right? That's why he says treat others the way you want to be treated. The golden rule. Treat the kids the way you want to be treated as a child. Just like a child. Thank you so much, guys. I hope this answers a lot of your questions about what's going on with Black women today. It's starting from a long time ago. I never look at it like, oh, y'all are just trying. No, it's something to it. Something to it because it's fixable, baby. It's fixable. The only problem is, do you want to fix it? Do you want to fix it? Do you want to be not Bob the Builder, but Bonita the Builder, right? Brenda the Builder. Can you rebuild yourself, man? All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching Ruth in Relationships. I will see you next week. Thank you for watching Ruth in Relationships. Ruth in Relationships. Tell me, can you handle it? This one's for the ladies. Bye.